Chapter 25. Unknown, Mysterious Mystery of Romance with God. Introduction. Liking on the physical plane of one another internally, in general, finally leads to love. When a couple loves each other on the physical plane to the extent possible, then at one stage they cannot live without each other. This brings them to the final stage when they want to merge into each other, that lead to the stage of romance. Romance is mergence for time being and then emergence that gives the feeling of happiness in certain boundaries of time. Romance with God is mergence with the divinity. This is the ultimate source of everlasting divine blessings. This mysterious mystery, as perceived, is tried to unfold through the practice of divine romance to get blessings of Almighty, physical romance and love. Basically, romance is a higher and respected version of love. Romance is not possible. Rather, it is futile without the intrinsic linkage of delicate love. Romance without love is lust, and lust turns into hatred, breakage, and separation in the course of time. However, love is the source of successful physical romance in the horizontal or worldly plane. On the physical plane, love between the couple is a gateway to romance. Otherwise, it is the process to deplete the vital energy to feel relaxed that makes the self gradually physically and mentally sick without getting the glimpse of satisfaction. However, it brings unaware sleep so as to experience relaxation because of the weakness of the body and mind after losing the precious energy. Romance with love is to be in a state of unison and to be in a blessed state, which is the net outcome or resultant of meaningful or successful romance. It is not depletion of energy. Instead, it is the process of conservation of energy and manifestation of vitality with deep satisfaction. Love. Love is the beginning of the threshold of romance. What is love? It must be understood in depth. Love is not just kissing, hugging, and speaking just a few pleasant words under the effect of lust, and then quarreling and exchanging unpleasant words. Love is the nectar that gives pleasant aroma and attracts the couple to merge into each other. Love is to forget themselves in coupling in totality, but becoming a divine couple, to become one to exist in unison in physical, mental, pranic or subtle, causal and spiritual planes. Romance. Love is gross, but romance is subtle. It is not merely a feeling as love brings. It brings all that can be described and expressed in words. All words and language become futile to project the glory of romance. Romance is, as one handles and looks at the flower, he can feel and smell the presence of its pleasant aroma, but is unable to preserve its aroma by any available means. This aroma gives deepest happiness and satisfaction. So is the romance, which is like the aroma of the flower, beyond the expression by the words. It is a pleasant mental feeling. Whatever way one describes, he is unable to express the pleasure, satisfaction, and happiness as the net blessed effect of the real romance in his mind, soul, and consciousness. It is as if one is merged in divinity, meaning of love. On the contrary, love, by its literal word, meaning can be understood as L for listening, O for observing, and V for venture, and E for evolution. So, if a couple loves each other, they will listen to one another and try to move in unison in all aspects. They will physically and mentally observe each other very closely and also try to venture into each other's happiness and sorrow. And finally, both of them try for higher evolution in the course of time. And thus, they enter as a couple in causeless state of intrinsic romance and get absorbed in each other, like Ardhanarishwara, Shiva and Shakti. For the multiplication of species in the world, Almighty or God or existence has created the Swarup or image of Kameshwara and Kameshwari of his own that act as the instruments inducing desires to couple to multiply their species. It starts from physical and mental attraction between them that proceeds in love and ends up in romance. Mergence with awareness as unison. The romance may end without much pleasure if the coitus of any of the partner is premature, but if the coitus of both the partners is simultaneous, then the couple just forgets each other, both in mental and physical planes, and merges in each other as unison. This is possible when the couple is fully conscious during the process of love, romance, and mating. Thus, it becomes divine love on the horizontal plane. This way, both the partners merge into each other as milk in water and become one as if in unison. This is the stage of romantic samadhi in the horizontal plane until both are again conscious of each other with time, appearance of transcendental state. The timeless state in unison is the period of the appearance of samadhi or transcendental state. These few moments are like the mergence of Shiva and Shakti and the appearance of Bindu or dot after both have disappeared in totality. This may be perceived as the blessed outcome of the romantic state. If both of them experience this in coitus, their love, understanding, and oneness increase in all walks of life. Their thinking in any work, their feelings, their way of approach in any crucial, critical matters will always be identical, as if they are made for each other on this planet. Mergence in unison. Romance for them is not the sex, but the mergence to be in unison. The process of romantic act continues as if Shiva is merged into Shakti, and finally, the nectar of the romantic divine love gives the fragrance to the flower that appears out of the union. And this aroma will be filled with all virtues. And in short, the blessed soul that appears in this union will be Sampurna Gunasampana. That is, he will be a highly evolved soul. This is the valuable gift of the divine romance in the horizontal plane. It is not the byproduct of the desired or undesired sexual activity of the couple. This is the priceless gift from the Almighty, and the couple will realize this in the course of time. However, this activity without self-mergence in each other will be just to satisfy the physical hunger of the couple. Divine romance. On similar modes as above, if the spiritual aspirant loves the Almighty, and then only divine romance appears in the intrinsic heart of the sadhaka or aspirant. This divine romance gradually merges the soul of the spiritual aspirant with the supernal in discontinuity. This happens with the grace of the Almighty. This is like the mergence of human consciousness in the cosmic divine consciousness, as if both are in unison. In this stage, the soul of the sadhaka, after taking the nectar from the supernal in discontinuity on getting merged, it returns back to the Ajna Chakra, that is, the energy point between the two eyes' brows. It rests there for a few seconds and then again ascends and gets merged with the supernal, and thus draws again cosmic energy from the supernal in discontinuities and returns to this Ajna Chakra. Enhancement of energy. This is the highest achievement of a spiritual aspirant in his life. This is the romance of the soul with the supernal, that is, merging with cosmic energy and coming back to Ajna Chakra. This mergence is divine romance. This is the blessed state. No state is comparable to this unique state. This way, divine energy is getting stored and gets enhanced. This gets distributed to other chakras, and then it is distributed to the whole human body by the system as prevailed and developed by the mysterious divine forces of the physical body, Savikalpa, Samadhi. The merging of the soul with the supernal, as explained above, is named as divine romance. This divine romance of the soul with the supernal continues in discontinuities. It means it is a make and break process. Sadhaka, or spiritual aspirant, becomes unaware of time in this divine play. In other words, this timeless, stateless state of the spiritual aspirant of these such moments, when the soul is with the supernal, is called Savikalpa Samadhi. In other words, these are moments when human consciousness is with cosmic consciousness. This takes the soul of the aspirant to the state of self realization. This is the quite high success in the life of a spiritual aspirant. Savikalpa Samadhi can be perceived as divine love with God. This is the state before mergence with God, that is, before divine romance with God, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. After Savikalpa Samadhi, the next stage of development of the aspirant in the spiritual path is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. In short, the depth of divine romance of the aspirant is the pathless path of the soul for mergence with the supernal that leads to Savikalpa, to Nirvikalpa Samadhi, with time, gradually. This Nirvikalpa Samadhi happens when the soul becomes a part of the supernal, like water in the milk. That is, the soul merges with the supernal. In this state, the soul and the supernal are in unison. Both have become one. No duality exists, as if both are knitted together. In this state, human consciousness and cosmic consciousness are merged together. Both are turned as a single unit. Real Nirvikalpa Samadhi can be perceived as divine romance with God in continuation with Savikalpa Samadhi, which is divine love with God. Return back of the soul from the supernal, that is, from this highest state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, is feasible by the wish and grace of God when knitting between the soul and the supernal becomes fragile. This happens when one enters into the breathing state from the breathless state of mergence. This brings back the soul with higher subtle and divine qualities at the original location, that is, at the Ajna Chakra. Net transformation. Thus, the soul comes back to Ajna Chakra with subtle divine energy, which gets distributed to the whole body through the spinal cord. This transforms the human body and enriches the human being with divine subtle qualities. Gradual practice of this makes aspirant as Jivan Mukta, or liberated soul in this life. This mergence of the soul with the supernal and then emergence from the supernal is the highest degree of romance with God, and there is no comparison to what a spiritual aspirant achieves in this romance as nectar of divine blessings from the cosmic mother. However, this is feasible by the blessings and wish of the Almighty. Our efforts with ceaseless prayers and unconditional love can bless us the taste of this nectar by the Almighty. By this process, gradually transformation takes place in the physical body, astral body, and causal body of the human being. First, glimpse of divine love. Prior to the highest degree of romance with God, a spiritual aspirant, after years of spiritual sadhana, achieves glimpses of divine love. This happens when the life force of the aspirant ascends from Muladhara Chakra to Ajna Chakra and descends back from Ajna to Muladhara. This gives the experience of electric current in the spinal cord, which is the movement of prana. Finally, this charges the complete physical body. One such revolution of life force in the spinal cord is the first step of feeling of divine love. Mergence of life force at the Ajna Chakra for a few seconds And then its return path to Muladhara Chakra gives the feeling of divine love, which is equivalent to 1 year of spiritual evolution with all spiritual austerities, mergence and love feeling. And thus, continuation of this back and forth journey of life force and its stay at Kutastha Chaitanya Center or Ajna Chakra is the mergence feeling of spiritual aspirant with God. It is also the highest divine love play. This whole is a divine love process. At times, tears start flowing from the eyes of the aspirant out of divine intrinsic love for the Almighty. Sadhaka, or spiritual aspirant, basically forgets everything in this process, and his complete physical and mental energy from all the sense organs get concentrated in the spinal cord. Ascent and descent of the life force continues through the sushumna, nadi, of the spinal cord. This gives the experience and feeling of love for God. In this process, the spiritual aspirant feels the highest order of divine love in the stateless state of timeless scale, states of evolution and transformation of divine light. The transformation of life force to the divine light occurs at the Ajna chakra when all the mental forces merge in the soul. Consciousness of the aspirant gets manifested. Here, the aspirant passes from the awakening state to the dream state to susupti before entering into the turiya or transcendental state. On passing through turiya or transcendental state, life force transforms to divine light and ascends to Chidakasha. In the divine light, there is no existence of mind, no intellect, no chit. Only consciousness and awareness, or Chaitanya, exists. It is a pure bundle or quanta of light energy. And if supernal light from cosmos via apex center descends and meets with this soul divine light ascending upwards, then there occurs the unison of Shiva and Shakti in the Chidakasha between the Ajna chakra and Sahasrara, divine romance with God. The supernal cosmic light being Shakti and soul divine light being Shiva, and their mergence in the Chidakasha is the blessed divine romantic mergence state with God occurs in the head of the Sadhaka. There is no bliss beyond this that an aspirant can experience. This divine romance with God continues as a make and break circuit, that is, in discontinuity till the soul divine light becomes completely part of the supernal light. At this state, the aspirant is in samadhi, a stateless, timeless state, that is, in transcendence state, the state beyond time and space. In this state, complete knowledge just pours in, and nothing more remains to know and learn. This highest divine romance charges the complete physical system, mind, subtle system, nervous system of the spiritual aspirant, and he fully fills himself with infinite blessings of the Almighty. In this state of divine romance with God, an avadhuta or spiritual aspirant can sit for a long time and goes on accumulating the divine light in his system. State of enlightenment after divine romance with God. In this stateless state of romance, he becomes enlightened gradually, but he is unaware of his enlightenment. He just cannot experience his enlightenment unless and until the Almighty blesses him glimpses of cosmic consciousness to merge with his human consciousness. As human consciousness merges with cosmic consciousness, human consciousness is manifested. There remains only divine, godly cosmic consciousness. Human consciousness becomes one with cosmic consciousness. This is the perfect romance with God. That is, the mergence of both human and divine cosmic consciousness. This gets manifested in existence. There remains no trace of human consciousness. With this manifestation of oneness in existence, void and intensive vacuum is generated. This leads to intensive movements of fine invisible electrons of cosmic consciousness or energy that generates divine light. This divine light is the net end effect of creativity, of romance with God. This is the experience of enlightenment when consciousness or soul comes or returns back in the body after having divine romance with God. Transformation to whole man after divine romance with God. A spiritual aspirant of divine romance with God can go to trance anytime. He becomes the complete master of his senses. He has full control on his mind since he's always with the light when he's in divine romance with God. His energies are always in the higher spiritual centers. No horizontal desires can provoke him. He is without any vasanas or desires. The aspirant has always good thoughts, positive thinking, and he's always engaged in creative activities for divine cause and human welfare through divinity. Erotic, romantic thoughts of horizontal planes are far away to disturb him. Godlike. Thus, he becomes living divinity and a close associate of the formless Almighty, and he can take a dip any time in the divinity of the cosmic mother. In short, a spiritual aspirant after divine romance with God becomes a divine personality. His body gradually turns into divine light by the blessings of his master, the sacred divine force, and by the grace of the Almighty. This is the highest achievement of spirituality of the spiritual aspirant, the sadhaka, in the human form. Concluding remarks. Divine romance with God is basically the mergence of human consciousness with universal infinite cosmic consciousness. Mergence of soul divine light with supreme divine light. Finally, one conceives, perceives, and develops the unison of oneness with this mighty universal existence. His becomes whole man with divine light around him. He becomes godlike with all subtle qualities. Thus, he continues his journey to the abode of silence smoothly on the pathless path, joyfully with utmost dignity in this life.